welcome to the very first episode of our brand new podcast, Adapt to Thrive, brought to you by the LIFE LATESTadapt project. And I'm your moderator, Louise Eglid, from the Ministry of Smart Administration and Regional Development. This project is a collaborative effort between 16 partners across Latvia and Estonia, dedicated to improve urban climate resilience in the Baltic region. To kick things off and officially open this podcast series, as it's just the first episode, I am honored to be joined by the Deputy State Secretary. So, Ilza, the floor is yours.
Hello, listeners. My name is Ilza Oša, and I'm Deputy State Secretary at the Ministry of Smart Administration and Regional Development of Latvia. My work at the Ministry is closely linked to regional development, and today, resilience is an important part of that. It is about how our regions, cities, and communities can adapt to change and continue to develop in a sustainable way. We are already seeing how climate changes affect our daily lives. Heavily rainfalls, heat waves, and other extreme weather events are becoming more common. They affect our cities, our infrastructure, and the way we plan our environment. That is why preparing for climate change is not only an environmental issue, it is also a key part of regional development. We need to think ahead and find practical solutions that help our cities adapt and become more resilient. Projects like LIFE LATESTadapt help us move in that direction. They allow cities and municipalities to test new ideas and try nature-based solutions in real urban environment. For example, greener spaces, better rainwater management, and ways to make cities more comfortable during hot periods. An important part of this project is learning from these examples. The experience and ideas developed here can inspire other municipalities and communities as well. Everyone can take these ideas and adapt them to their own city, neighborhood, or region to create solutions that are both people-friendly and sustainable. In these episodes, we will now move from the general introduction to the practical side. Our experts will share their experiences and talk about the solutions that are being developed and tested within the project.
Thank you, Ilza. With that official opening, I think we are ready to dive into our first episode, Nature-Based Solutions, Our Shield Against Climate Change. And this topic, nature-based solutions, in short, it's NBS, so nobody is confused who hasn't heard this term before. And as it's a three-word term, we will use this short version. So today we will explore what NBS actually are, look at practical examples, and tackle the big questions. How much do they cost? How do we balance initial investment with long-term and maintenance? And how does the approach to NBS differ between Latvia and Estonia? And to help us navigate these topics, we are joined by a distinguished panel of experts. Ande Ruskule from the Baltic Environmental Forum in Latvia, Merle Kuris from the Baltic Environmental Forum in Estonia, Aija Vanega from the Association Baltic Coasts, Krišs Smildzers from the Public Infrastructure Project Development Division of Riga City, and finally a very special guest, Tanel Metlek, the project manager for LIFE LATESTadapt from the Vimsi municipality. And Tanel not only coordinates this massive international effort, but also brings fresh experience from implementing physical NBS projects in Vimsi just last year. So together, we will look at how these solutions have been and are going to be implemented in Latvia and Estonia. Whether you are a city planner, a student, or a concerned citizen, this podcast is for you. Let's start the conversation on how we can turn our gray infrastructure into green resilience. maybe for like an analogy for understanding, think of nature-based solutions as the city's immune system, while traditional grain infrastructure like concrete pipes acts like basic bandage that can only handle a specific amount of pressure before failing. NBS are living systems. Like an immune system, they absorb, filter, and adapt to threats like heavy rain or extreme heat, protecting the entire body of the city while growing stronger and more effective over time. To start our journey, we need to understand the tools that are at our disposal. And we often hear nature described as a super solution to climate change, yet many people still think of it only as pretty greenery. Anda, we could start with you. For a resident of Riga or Tallinn who has never heard this term, how would you define nature-based solutions, and why is there such a sudden urgency to implement them in the Baltic region right now?
Yes, hello. Regarding nature-based solutions, I think in an urban context, it's nothing particularly new. Actually, any kind of greenery in city can serve as a nature-based solutions, like, for example, urban parks, trees, which are actually the most efficient nature-based solutions by their nature. And we have used them for centuries for improving quality of life in cities. But yeah, it's more kind of rebranding of this well-known green elements of the city in the context of this actual challenges what we face right now with regard to climate change, also ecological crisis and other societal challenges what we face in the modern cities. And so nature-based solutions is actually about addressing these challenges by working together with nature, by using the natural capacity of urban green space to minimize these risks what we face, like flooding, like heat waves, also reducing pollution, and in this way also improving the quality of life of citizens. So it's actually something well known, but looked from perspective of the problem. So how can we use this well-known elements of cities, green elements of the cities for addressing these modern problems? And so it can be very simple traditional green space, and it can be also more advanced for including also some technological solutions to capture the rainwater, or to slow the flow of rainwater. And so there are a lot of varieties of what we consider as nature-based solutions, from very natural to very sophisticated and technological.
So we could say that those are also some good forgotten things, or something that we see each day, but don't think of them as some solutions or something more valuable. And maybe understanding the theory is one thing, but coordinating a response across borders is another. And maybe Tunnel, as a project manager, you're coordinating a diverse group across 2 countries. Maybe what is the biggest challenge in ensuring that high-level science actually translates into city planning? So it's not just a project, but really something more.
Following Anda's explanation, the nature-based solutions in kind of modern contemporary urban environment means that they are serving different purposes. Maybe this is something that comes up very clearly nowadays that in case of Viimsi, for example, if our previous solutions were pretty one function based solutions like training of the rainwater, then right now we are doing this kind of multifunctional solutions which are basically addressing the prevention of floods via training or some other technical solutions, but also the reuse of the water for municipal purposes like watering the plants and so on, or streets, plus also the kind of recreational aspect for local inhabitants, which seems to be very important because it also helps for local inhabitants to understand why municipality is investing into these solutions, that the kind of stormwater drainage or treatment is somehow invisible thing that they don't see it with their own eyes. But if you also create the kind of recreational spot for the local people, then they see also the kind of practical benefit, direct benefit for them as well. So it's a kind of combination of functions, and the kind of challenge related to that is that how to develop these novel solutions that are having these different functions. How to, if you are outsourcing the construction design project development, how to explain it also to the designer that this is not a simple solution like some just a pool or something like that, but it's a multifunctional thing. So that how to ensure that the designers understand what you want to achieve, plus also how to do the kind of careful calculation of the construction costs, because if you have this multifunctional kind of sites, then the price might be also a little bit more expensive than the usual solutions. How to keep the costs under control, so during the construction. So this we have seen right now in our project as well, that all three municipalities which are now have constructed the demonstration sites already, Viimsi, Haapsalu and Narva, all of them, the actual construction price exceeded the available budget in the project.
Yeah, as I also understand from this project, the real extra and addition that people also can see are these demo sites that we will also speak in another episode more in details. But I think that's a big extra, so that also inhabitants see these solutions, and maybe for them they are more recreational for now. And they don't see all the sensors and all the pipes that are under the ground, but they are, the physical results, so to say, not only plans, only booklets or seminars. And moving from the suburban landscape of Viimsi to a dense historical capital like Riga presents a different set of obstacles, where space is limited and every square meter is contested. And maybe Krish from city of Riga, maybe you could tell, how do you balance the need for functional green drainage with the aesthetic and social needs of a crowded urban environment?
I hope that I understand correctly the question. So how I understand a city like Riga, balance means bringing things together, not choosing one priority over another. Green drainage is not only technical infrastructure, and it can also improve public space and make neighborhoods more attractive and pleasant. And very important thing what we need to remember is that the city development is not decided by one person. It grows discussion and cooperation between landscape architects, engineers, heritage specialists, and residents. Our role is to make sure that climate resilience becomes a natural part of this discussion, And at the end, a city that is climate resilient must also be a good place to live. How I understand that function and beauty should work together, not against each other.
That's right. And especially in like a compact city, I think that's the biggest challenge, how to get those two challenges together. So it's kind of pretty, but also really functioning. And moving on more in detail, so to say, as it was also mentioned, the balance requires precise science, and we can't just plant trees anywhere, especially in cities. And also related to invasive species, planting them in wrong soil, it can actually cause maladaptation. That's when something is created to solve a problem, but in the end creates a worse situation and even more problems. And maybe Merle from Estonia, your work involves this knowledge transfer. What are the high potential plant communities we are testing, and why is the selection of native species so critical to the success of nature-based solutions?
Yes, nature-based solutions are largely based on plants. That is why it is very important to choose the right ones, the plants. For example, foreign cultivated plants, they may have larger flowers, but the benefits of native plants are much greater. Native plants are adapted to our climate conditions, which means that they are more resistant to both temporary flooding and drought, and they also support local biodiversity. For example, one native plant species can be associated or related to several hundred other species, including, for example, insects, other invertebrates, birds, other small animals. The plants provide them food or habitat. And as it was already said, that biodiversity is the key to adapting to climate change, and for both nature and humans. And also talking about costs, actually the native species also allow us to save on costs. Unlike cultivated lawns, urban meadows with native plants only need mowing 1 to 2 times a year and can usually do without watering. So that is the cost saving. Yeah, and in the LIFE-LATESTadapt project, native plant species suitable for nature-based stormwater solutions are tested. Our project partner, Nordic Botanical, has created a test rain garden. And the initial results show that most of the tested native plant species actually have withstood both flooding and drought. So they are like super plants, our native species. And I hope soon we can make more precise conclusions and we can advise people which native species could be used in rain gardens.
That's a great information. So we could see really what the differences and how it increases or decreases some of the costs or other things. But even with the right plans, we need to prove to skeptical observers and perhaps to our own finance departments that these solutions actually work. And Aija, you focused on monitoring and validation, especially on social economical one. How do we actually measure if an NBS is working, and how do we use these novel sensing techniques to prove to skeptical people that these solutions are working?
Well, yes. We can build something very beautiful, but if we cannot measure it and it prove that it is very important, we cannot give this whole picture. So yeah, in our project, we are trying to measure each of these demo sites benefit that can give us, and we are trying to look for several different perspectives to give this whole picture, because it was already mentioned that this nature-based solutions can provide us with several benefits, like climate change mitigations, like human well-being, like biodiversity, and also this resource efficiency and savings. And these are all those indicators that we are trying to gather and trying to count. And yeah, we are using several methods to receive this to get this whole picture in one page, and to give clear understanding also for decision makers that this short perspective or this short view can be very well, cannot be so cost efficient as it could be choosing this nature-based solution, because it can give us this whole basket with several benefits that you cannot buy just to implementing some gray infrastructure. And yeah, I hope I answered the question. But,
yeah. And I understand that you're more working with the maybe cost and social monitoring and validation, but there is also this technical side related also to sensors that are implemented in our demo sites and other territories, to understand also the maybe the quality of water or some other things that are not so seen by our eyes. And we could say that sensors are part of a larger digital change happening in our cities, and data is the key to opening the door for more investment too. And the project highlights this digital change and decision support system. And Krish, how do these smart tools help you as a planner of Riga decide where NBS will be more effective in a city like Riga, if you use some tools or maybe not yet?
Slowly, we started using more and more these tools. In general, digital tools help us make decisions based on data. We look, for example, to the flood risks, heavy rains at the summertime, topography and urban heat islands in the city, and to understand where nature-based solutions will work best in our city. This helps us invest in the right place and achieve better results with the same resource. What I try to say is that more data, less mistakes, better solution for our city development.
Mm-hmm. And also probably there should be some mix between where the problems are on the map and in the data, and where it is really possible to create the project in, if it's the territory of the city, or is there even a place where to create something. Probably that's the biggest challenge, to mix these two. And that's also kind of related to the policy and barrier topic, as also, even if we have the data and the will to do something, there is also often this wall legislation. History shows that once a technology is written into national regulation, its adoption grows exponentially, but getting it there is a real stepping stone. And maybe Tanel, from your cross-border perspective, do you see a difference in how popular or accepted these solutions are in Latvia versus Estonia, or do we face the same legislative and social barriers?
You mean nature-based solutions, or?
Yes, more about the like green solutions, are they easy to implement and create from the policy side, and also the social barrier, like are people against them, or they really are willing to have them more, so to say?
Probably my colleagues are from Latvian partners can shed a light a little bit about the Latvian situation compared to what we know in Estonia. The main focus right now has been on the climate change adaptation plan. The kind of policy has been focusing largely on the kind of climate change adaptation plan. Nature-based solutions are part of these plan measures. But I see right now that that we are in a way closing also to the kind of policy making aspect in Latvia, which is the urban greening plans. It's related directly to the national restoration plans that all member states have to develop, adopt, and implement in the coming years. And whereas in the beginning of project, the kind of urban greening plans was not the kind of not that known in Estonia in terms of legal acts or strategic plans. Right now, we see already that a lot of urban municipalities in Estonia, both cities, but also other urban municipalities like Viimsi, are supposed to develop the urban greening plans similar to the plans that Latvian municipalities already have. 3 of them are actually going to be adopted in the framework of our LIFE project as well, so that the kind of greening aspect comes very clearly in Estonia in the policy making, which basically means also that we expect that there will be kind of more practical solutions also with regard to the greening solutions like green roofs or green walls or whatever is to be included in these plans.
Maybe from Latvia side, Anna can add something about the greening plans, as I think those are the newest and maybe more specific type of policy side that are now in the process to be implemented in Latvia. Well, at least in 3 municipalities.
Yes, but I would say that actually for really mainstreaming this solutions and also in policy and making them like a standard procedure, it's these 2 sides are very essential, both of which we are trying out in our project. So one thing is to really to demonstrate them in practice as a good examples to show that they are working really and that they are efficient, and in this way increasing acceptance and understanding what are these solutions. And other side is really a good planning and strategic placing of the solutions in the right places, as also Krish was already mentioning. And so what we are doing with greening plans, so yeah, we are through the project we are developing urban greening plans for Riga, Cēsis, and Valmiera, and we started with actually assessing the situation of assessing how existing green infrastructure in our cities are functioning, how the urban ecosystem is contributing at the moment to solving these problems which we are facing with climate change. So we have been mapping and assessing the status of our green infrastructure, and how efficient it is for mitigating floods or heat island effects. So where it is already in a good situation and contributing well, and where it is insufficient. And also in parallel mapping these risks like flooding risks, heat island distribution, And by putting this information together, we can prioritize the sites where the nature-based solutions would make the best effect, where it would be most appropriate for a particular purpose, but also, as mentioned before, they are in the same time really multifunctional and helping in general in improving urban life conditions. And so through this process, we have identified also the sites where these nature-based solutions should be implemented. And now this is a process of planning. So one thing is data and the theory, or not theory, but maybe evidence on where it is necessary. And as I said, is practical, what is implementable, how much budget might be available, what are priorities. Each city has slightly different priorities on what to focus. Also slightly different approaches of how to plan this urban greening solutions. And so now it's what is ongoing, that municipalities are working with all this information and identifying certain actions which will be taken through the cities, and it includes also physical implementation of nature-based solutions, as well as expanding green space or improving its quality, and also improving the management approaches of green space and different other aspects. So this greening plans cover, in general, this policy for urban greening, and through very different actions and targets, and we set in targets and indicators how to reach them, and
And maybe from the, so to say, practical side, and especially outside of this project, maybe Krish can comment, is our current legislation is a help or a barrier, and how difficult is it to get a green project approved compared to a traditional grey construction project?
By my experience, I will say that at this moment, legislation is more like barrier than a support for nature-based solutions. One big challenge at this moment is the protection zones around underground utilities, because utility owners must approve the plans, and quite often, I will say, their view about green solutions is quite skeptical, and this is the reason because of green project can be harder to approve than traditional construction projects, unfortunately. And other issue is historical heritage protection. In some cases, in conflicts with the development of the new green infrastructure, bringing these living structures into historical city like Riga requires careful coordination and respect for strict rule. But we, like department, we believe that legislation could be improved to better support the implementation for nature-based solutions.
Oh, well, I hope also maybe with the results of this project, we will have some help to improve it. Maybe not in one time, but in some perspective years at least. And also this brings maybe to another big topic, and that's the big question: money. When stakeholders look at histograms, the economic argument usually wins the day. And I think also Krish, as also from the project and also seeing different kinds of projects around the city, could comment how do NBS compare to traditional solutions when we look at the initial investment versus the long-term maintenance, and how do we prove to the city council that the investment and the maintenance of NBS are more convenient than the traditional, for example, pipes?
In generally, I think gray infrastructure is usually expensive to build and expensive and also maintain over time. But nature-based solutions often cost the same or even less at the beginning. In the long term, they usually require lower maintenance costs, which is very important. Sometimes, especially city council forget this stuff. So we need to remember this for them. And of course, also nature-based solutions bring extra benefits. They help cool the city, for example, support biodiversity and improve people's well-being. And these benefits also have economic value in the long run. And about city councils, how convince them, I think we need to show not only the initial costs, like general costs, but also the full long-term costs, including maintenance and the added benefits that gray infrastructure don't have.
And probably also the costs that will be decreased by using this solution, because, for example, when there are heavy rains, there are expenses from some damages. But if we implement some solutions that are helping to adapt to these rainfalls, so there are less damage and less cost to fix something. So I would say that's really important. So maybe there should be some posters around the department for all the hire people, so that see all the costs and all the benefits, and especially in the long run. And as you mentioned, of course, there are different improvements, as to say, like shadow prices of nature. And maybe Aya could define more specifically what are these hidden values these projects provide to citizens that we often forget, because maybe we don't see them, but they aren't just to have a shadow or just to have less rain on the street. But I think there are a lot of things that people maybe don't really think of that are in these solutions.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess you and also Krish perfectly covered this question. And I don't have much to add on this question, just to somehow to make this decision makers to think not in this single purpose thinking, but in long-term thinking, because as you already mentioned, there are so many additional benefits that cannot be received from any artificial solutions. And we are humans who come from nature, and we belong for nature, and we cannot exist without nature. So we have to bring back nature to our cities, and this is, I don't know how even clearly to tell this. And because and as you already mentioned, that there are so many benefits that comes together with every single flower and every single, I don't know, tree. And
I see that Ander wants to add something.
Yes, just to say from very practical perspective, that of course nature-based solutions will not replace all gray infrastructure, but they work in combination, and they actually increase the efficiency. And it's so in this very heavy rainfall situations, our traditional gray infrastructure tubes are not able to manage anymore this big amount of water, and so we need these nature-based solutions help to reduce the water flow, and this way help to actually the gray infrastructure to work properly. And then there is this very also specific situation in Riga that we have this combined system of rainwaters and sewage waters, and in very heavy rainfalls, this system is not managing this amount of water, and then it is released in water bodies, and then it creates not only flooding situation, but also a very big environmental damage or issue. So this really, this nature-based solutions are essential for helping like a more balanced and efficient functioning of all this water management system in the city. And yeah, that's only part of the water floods, but not when adding all other aspects, of course. And we've talking about the costs, how much we spend on healthcare, and not only due to heat waves, but also this is related to mental health and well-being, and possibilities for active sport and recreation, and improving your physical conditions. And so if we would manage to calculate in this formula this costs or benefits which we gain through reducing healthcare costs, and we would see absolutely how much cost efficient are these solutions.
Yes, I totally agree. And also what I found that also in Stockholm Declaration, noted 50 years ago, it said that man is both creature and molder of his environment. And to succeed, we need people to be molders of these new green spaces. And maybe Merle, as I know you are also responsible of, so to say, translating all of this also to inhabitants. And why is it essential to involve local communities and youth in the planning of these green spaces, rather than just leaving it to the engineers and architects?
Yes, it's important to involve everybody. Also, engineers are important, but it is important to involve the local community because it is important that they understand what are these nature-based solutions and why they are necessary and beneficial. And this also helps to create a sense of ownership and community support. And we can better take into account the wishes and needs of residents. And also the community can contribute to the creation of nature-based solutions, for example, by establishing such solutions also on their own properties, because nature-based solutions should form a system or network. Then they are most effective in solving those problems, climate-related problems that we want them to solve. Yeah.
And our project runs until August 2027, but the goal is to leave a lasting legacy across the Baltic Sea region, well, at least Latvia and Estonia. And Tunnel, after the project ends, how do we ensure these 8 demonstration sites continue to thrive? And how can other Baltic towns replicate our results, maybe?
I guess the current project outcomes inspire a lot of other municipalities, both in Estonia and in Latvia, to develop something similar. Plus, also, I already mentioned the urban greening plans that probably in the coming years, the Estonian municipalities, quite many of them will develop similar urban greening plans for Estonia as well. So definitely continues. How the project itself can help the kind of replication and sustainability, I guess, is we are in a way entering this phase of the project, the last years of the project, in which we have to pay a lot of attention to this different activities like training, the guidelines, also the visits to organizing the visits to our demonstration sites and other this kind of activities for transfer of results and replication. So I see that we have learned a lot ourselves in the previous stages of the project, and now it's time to explain to others what to do and what not to do in terms of developing this kind of solutions and preparing this kind of green plans.
True. I hope there maybe these demo sites and other results will be included maybe in some nature-based solution tourist guide or something like that, so they aren't forgotten and people really can go and see and not just think that they are just a pretty pocket park or something else, but they can know more about them. And before we close, let's leave our listeners maybe that are listening about these nature-based solutions for the first time with something practical. And Merle, if a listener wants their local neighborhood to become more climate resilient, what is the first step they should take to support NBS? As I know you are also creating some leaflets and some events for local inhabitants.
As I said, biodiversity is the key. So everybody should support biodiversity as much as possible on his or her property, for example. Yeah.
And if something is maybe by the fence, or I don't know, if maybe they can just plant more trees in their garden, or create some smaller solution that the municipality can't create in their gardens, but they can create the solution themselves.
Yes, of course, and they will feel it immediately, because we have heat waves almost every summer now. So you are lucky when you have a tree that provides the shadow, at least.
True. And as it was also mentioned, we will have these guidelines. So also any interested people can look into them maybe next year and create a solution, like a mini version in their garden, to see how they work. But I think this is a great point with which to maybe conclude this discussion today. And this brings to the end of our first episode. And huge thank you to Ilze for opening our series, and to our guests, Anda, Merle, Aya, Tanel, and Krish, for sharing their expertise on transforming our cities into sponge-like environments. Today, we've learned that NBS are not just about aesthetics. They are vital, urgent response to pluvial flooding and also heat waves. And we are building smart solutions that protect both our infrastructure and our citizens. And as we discussed, these solutions are being put to the test right now across both countries. This 5-year journey, running until August 2027, is about more than just planting trees. It's about digital change, quality planning, and most importantly, engaged communities. To stay updated on our progress, follow the LIFE LATESTadapt project on our social media, on Facebook probably, or subscribe to our newsletter that you can do in our project website. And this project is funded by the European Union's LIFE program, the Ministry of Smart Administration and Regional Development of the Republic of Latvia, and the Ministry of Climate of the Republic of Estonia. So join us in our next episode as we dive deeper into other topics related to the project and nature-based solutions. Until then, keep adapting and let's keep making our cities green, healthy, and resilient.